This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Minister of Transport and Aviation, the Honorable Glenys Martin, told us today that airports around the country have reached a critical state.
All right, the minister told Janelle Ferguson that government must find $200 million for upgrades in order to meet international standards.
The recent Moody's downgrade can have far-reaching implications for the country as attempts are being made to fuel economic growth for an already struggling economy. But capital infrastructure, including an upgrade of all 28 airports nationwide, is another reality that the government will have to deal with fast. Minister of Transport and Aviation Glenys Martin says the $200 million needed is not something to be taken lightly.
We're meeting on that also tomorrow, to see what is the way forward to redevelop these airports to ensure that they properly facilitate aviation traffic. But again, it's the issue of leaving things over the years and not having a culture of maintenance or redevelopment. And it may be a resource issue. I'm not condemning anyone, but this is what you reap. You know, you reap what you sow, and the lack of maintenance, the lack of planning has led to what has become a critical situation.
The Transport and Aviation Minister noted significant growth in population on a number of the family islands, which has increased the demand for air travel. She says that they have to ensure that the airport environment is safe, well managed, and welcoming.
Had major growth in certain of them in North Eleuthera, in Exuma, and the infrastructural development has not matched the issue. As a result, we have deteriorating plants all over the place, on a coming fast and furiously on a multiple basis. You wouldn't mind if it was one or two, but the challenges are multiple.
But the main question is, where will the government find the money to fund the much-needed airport upgrades? Hannah Martin says at this point they have to focus on public-private partnerships to get the job done.
We're going to have to find the resources, use creative ways, public-private partnerships, whatever is required to ensure that we redevelop the airports. In the case of Bimini, we agreed with Bimini that they would foot the cost up front, and that at the back end, through concessions, they would recoup what they've invested. That way we avoided the initial development cost. So things like that or other methodologies will have to be utilized. It has to be done.
Janelle Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Well, you may or may not have heard yet, but a lot of motorists here in New Providence have been unable to receive license plates for their cars because the Road Traffic Department simply doesn't have any. It's a concern Minister of Transport and Aviation Glenys Martin says her ministry is working to address by devising a plan to modernize and overhaul the Road Traffic Department.
The controller indicated of road traffic that there was a challenge in terms of the plates being produced. They're produced by the Ministry of Works, and that has created a backlog. But we're now looking at a new strategy that will allow us, which I don't want to talk about yet because it's a work in progress, that will cause for the more timely production of license plates. The Road Traffic Department, sadly, is a department that is critical from a revenue point of view, from a social, every point of view, but it has had very little sort of modernization. And so we are now, for the first time in many, many years, moving forward in an aggressive way of modernization. The controller just returned, looking at 2 jurisdictions worldwide at automated traffic systems, so that things such as production of driver's licenses, which is now, the machine keeps breaking down, people got to come back the next day, etc. The long line continues to be inefficient. It continues not to meet the demand. And so we're now in the process of ensuring that we modernize that department.
In news from the courts, 36-year-old Garvin Adderley making his first appearance in the South Street Magistrates Court today, accused of killing Marcus Miller between January 6th and 13th of this year. Miller was shot outside his home in Millers Heights. Adderley was not required to enter a plea to the murder charge. A voluntary bill of indictment will be filed. Bail was denied and he was remanded to prison. The case has been adjourned. Meantime, Adderley's co-accused Jermaine Missick was arraigned last August for Miller's murder.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.